You're watching Hot Walk Academy. My name is Ming Jin Tong. I want to help you master your kitchen. Let's go. Today we've got here pea tips. These are the sprouts from a pea plant like snow pea. You can use this method for any leafy green you like. You can do it with kale. You can do it with spinach. You could do it even with collard greens. Really up to you. And I think, even though it is our tradition to use these vegetables, you should explore. Bring in other leafy greens that you enjoy and try it with the same method. So, quick review of our tools and our ingredients. We're using our Chinese vegetable cleaver. And again, nice and sharp to make a clean cut, but also tall to act like a bench scraper on our end grain board. We're also gonna be using our vegetable oil. Now, vegetable oil normally is a combination of canola oil and soybean oil, and vegetable oil provides a nice high temp heat. Also, we're gonna be using just regular old cornstarch, and we're gonna be creating a slurry, which is cornstarch and water, and that's why we have this container, and that will go in our pea tips, and I'll show you how we do that at the very end. And then I've got here sea salt for our sodium as we cook, and then of course, the ever favorite of mine, which is garlic, and garlic will be used to flavor our oil. So this is how you do your prep. Number one, for your pea tips, when you buy pea tips, they come pretty much like this in a bag, and there are pieces that are about this large. I'll show you this one here. That really is the tip of the plant. Another piece here that looks like this, again, you can see the nice tip of the plant there, which is again why we call it pea tips. And if you look at the size, they are just about the right size. Now, this might be a little bit bigger than you would put into a stir fry regularly. However, the reason we're gonna leave it this size is because there's gonna be significant wilting for the pea tip. If you want, and you're really particular about this, you could snap your pea tip in half and have two smaller pieces, but because of how much it's going to shrink, that really is not necessary. So for the pea tips, what I've done to prep them is I've rinsed them, I've shaken them out, I've drained it. For our garlic, what we're gonna do is from your head of garlic, let's go ahead and remove some cloves. All right. And again, for garlic, what you want to do is take the broad side of your knife and just give it a nice firm pat. Another way to do it, if you want a little bit more control, is to put it down there and just give it a little smack with your wrist or with your fist. Okay. One more time. This just peels right off, and the inside of the garlic is now exposed for the hot oil. So garlic is ready to go. I'll set this off to the side. Just one last step of prep is our slurry. Now, when you mix cornstarch with water, this is about 2 tablespoons of cornstarch, and I am gonna put in probably about half of it. So I have about 1 tablespoon of cornstarch. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add water, probably about 1/3 of a cup of water, maybe about half a cup of water, and I'm gonna create a slurry. Now, this particular slurry, what we're gonna do is add it to the end of the stir fry. And what that's gonna do is it's gonna coat the vegetable with the flavor of the garlic oil and the flavor of the vegetable. It's a very important step that I'll show you how to do. You don't want it too thick. You do want it to be nice and runny. So judging by the color here, this color looks a little bit like skim milk, which means I don't have enough water in there. I'm gonna add even more water, and you'll see if I can make the right coloration. Okay, so that is about right. I've got now about a cup of water to about a tablespoon of cornstarch. This will be added to the end of our stir fry. Let's go over to the stove and I'll show you how to cook it. Okay, after you've got your vegetables cut, you're gonna come over to your wok, and this is what I wanna recommend. For your wok, this is a 14-inch carbon steel round bottom wok, and I've got a gas stove. If you've got an electric stove, totally fine. Let me encourage you to get a flat bottom wok so that it sits still. I am gonna be tossing my wok, But with an electric wok, it's okay to leave it down and you can move your product around with your wok spatula. So first we're gonna do a relatively low flame to heat up our wok. And what we wanna do is we wanna create a seasoned oil. So I'm gonna put about that much oil in. Judging by my vegetables, that's about maybe I'll do maybe 3 tablespoons of oil. And because it is gonna create a lot of oil vapor, I'm gonna go ahead and turn on my fan so it might be a little bit loud. As that oil heats up, I do wanna introduce that crushed garlic. I'll just put a couple pieces in there, and I might just kind of tear it apart a little bit more to expose more of the inside of that garlic, okay? And we're gonna put that into our oil, and this step in stir fry is called 爆香, allowing the flavor of the garlic to come out to flavor that oil. And that flavored oil is a key element of achieving the right flavor in your stir fry. Get a nice golden brown exterior, let that flavor come out. You'll be able to smell that garlic. All right, and I think we are ready. And just judging by the amount of oil in there, I actually am gonna add just a little bit more, especially because I can tell this amount of pea tips is gonna need a little bit more oil than that. Okay. And just for the sake of raising the temp, I'm gonna remove my garlic. You know, every time I do that, I forget to put it back, so I'll put it into my pea tips. Okay, at this stage, I'm gonna raise my fire to its highest heat. And again, I wanna build up as much heat as I can possibly retain in my wok before I introduce this cold product. That high heat is gonna quickly cook your vegetable, yet let it be crisp. And that's exactly what we're going for. Fully cooked and fully crisp at the same time. Now, at the very end, we're gonna do something a little different. When the vegetable is all done, remember we made this water and cornstarch slurry, and we are gonna give that some agitation, and we're gonna introduce that at the very, very end of our cook, and you'll see how we do that. Okay, again, judging by the amount of smoke and time that's been on there, we're probably at about 700 degrees now, and we will take all of those pea tips, and we're gonna go ahead and dump them right in. Because we let it build up all that heat, we're now able to use that. If you never brought your wok up to the right temperature, you'll never get there in time. Time for some sea salt. And one more time with sea salt. You can tell these are not wilted all the way down, which is just fantastic. The stem is still nice and firm, and the leaves are starting to wilt. This plant, as a pea tip, just works so well for stir fry. It's just fantastic. You'll know you're done when the leaves are fully wilted and the stems begin to soften as well. And that right there, that's looking really good. I want to enjoy that crunch in the stem when I eat it, so I'm not gonna cook it almost any further than that. I am, however, gonna reduce my heat, and now I'm gonna introduce the slurry with the water and the cornstarch. The heat is still on. I'm gonna add this in. And what this is gonna do is it's gonna create a coating on my leaves. And that coating is going to, I'm gonna turn the heat all the way back up. That coating is gonna carry with it the flavors from the garlic oil, and it's gonna give that vegetable a nice sheen. Look at how beautiful that is. All right, and there you can see how these stems are still sticking up. That is a wonderful thing. Your stalk is not all the way wilted. It's gonna be a nice crunch. Let's go ahead and pull this out. Let me grab a plate for us. Let's get that plated. These pea tips are just one of our kids' favorites. They call them peeps. And if your kids don't like vegetables, try it this way. They are fragrant and nice and salty. There's a great nutty flavor, and they don't taste like mush. They've got a great texture to them. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe.